If you're over 60 and you've noticed your erections getting weaker or harder to keep, you're not alone. A lot of men think it's just part of getting older. But what if I told you that 5 small habits, things you probably do every day, might be making it worse? These habits seem harmless, but over time, they can slowly damage your blood flow, your hormones, and your ability to feel pleasure. Most men have no idea. That's why in this video, we're going to break it all down, step by step, and show you what you can do to start fixing it today. Now, medical studies suggest that most erection problems in men over 60 aren't just caused by aging. In fact, researchers at places like Harvard and Baylor College of Medicine have found that everyday habits, things as simple as how you sit, sleep, or even breathe, can slowly damage blood flow, nerve response, and hormone levels. These small changes add up over time, and what looks like normal aging is often the result of years of stress on your system. The good news: when you remove the stressors and make a few key changes, your body can begin to respond again, sometimes faster than you'd expect. Most men over 60 think weak erections are just part of getting older. Their doctor might even tell them it's normal. But what if it's not? What if the real problem isn't your age? It's the things you do every day without realizing they're hurting you. Things like how you sit, how you sleep, what you eat, or how you manage stress. These small choices can slowly change how your blood flows, how your brain reacts, and how your body responds when you're with someone or even when you're alone. That's why this video matters. Because once you understand what's really going on, you can finally take control again. You can feel stronger, more alive, and more connected. Not by doing more, but by doing less of what's been hurting you all along. Habit 1. Sitting too long without movement. Most men wouldn't think of sitting as a problem. After all, it's just part of life. Sitting at the breakfast table, in the car, on the couch, or behind a desk. But here's the hidden danger. Sitting for long periods without movement is one of the biggest threats to male sexual health over 60, and most men don't even know it's happening. When you sit too long, especially without standing up or stretching, blood starts to pool in your lower body. Your circulation slows, especially in areas that need strong blood flow, like your pelvis and groin. And when that flow weakens, your erection does too. A study from the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that older men who sat more than 6 hours a day had significantly poorer blood vessel function compared to men who moved regularly. That's because the inner lining of their blood vessels, called the endothelium, becomes stiff, less responsive, and less able to pump blood when it's needed. And this doesn't just affect performance in the moment. Over time, the body starts to change. The soft tissues in the penis get less oxygen. The nerves get less stimulation. The blood vessels themselves begin to harden, and that process, once it starts, doesn't stop easily. Men often blame age, but doctors now say prolonged inactivity may be doing just as much damage as aging, or more. One retired man in his late 60s shared that after he stopped working, he'd spend most of the day sitting. "I didn't feel sick or tired," he said, "but I started to notice things weren't working like they used to." When he brought it up during a routine checkup, his doctor gave him surprising advice. Stand up every hour, walk around, and try to move for 5 minutes, several times a day. Within a few weeks, his nighttime erections started returning. Not because of medication, but because of motion. But there's more. Long-term sitting doesn't just reduce blood flow. It also compresses nerves in the lower spine and pelvis, especially the pudendal nerve, which helps control sexual sensation. When that nerve gets pinched from pressure or weakened from disuse, it becomes harder to feel pleasure. You might still want to respond, but your body doesn't get the message. That's why experts now say men over 60 should aim to break up sitting with short bursts of movement at least once every 30 to 60 minutes. You don't need to hit the gym, just stand, stretch, do a few steps around the room, or even perform light bodyweight squats. These small actions restore blood flow, reduce pressure on the nerves, and send a powerful message to your body. This part of me still matters. It's easy to think of sitting as harmless, but over time, it can be one of the most damaging habits for your sexual health. And thankfully, it's also one of the easiest to change. Habit 2. Sleeping with the TV or phone on it might feel comforting. That soft glow of the TV as you drift off, or the quiet hum of your phone nearby. Many men over 60 use background noise to help them fall asleep. But here's the truth. Keeping screens on at night could be silently damaging your hormones, especially the ones that control your erections. Medical studies now suggest that blue light from screens, even small ones, can interfere with the body's natural production of melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate sleep. But melatonin does more than help you rest. It's closely tied to the production of testosterone, which is vital for sexual function, mood, and energy. Researchers from the University of Colorado found that even short-term exposure to artificial light before bed reduced nighttime testosterone levels in older men. Here's what that means. When you fall asleep in front of a screen, your brain doesn't fully shut down. Your sleep becomes lighter, your hormone cycles get interrupted, and your body never gets the deep, restorative rest it needs to rebuild testosterone, repair tissue, or reset nerve function. Over time, this leads to fatigue, stress, and weaker sexual response, even if everything else looks normal. One man shared that he couldn't fall asleep without the TV. "I liked the sound, it helped me forget my thoughts," he said, but he also noticed his drive fading, and his morning erections had disappeared. After hearing about the connection, he started a new habit, turning off screens an hour before bed, using soft music or a fan instead. Within 2 weeks, his energy improved. After a month, his partner noticed the difference too. But it's not just about the screens. Having your phone nearby, even on silent, can still cause small sleep disruptions. Vibrations, flashing notifications, and even subconscious awareness of being on call can keep your body from fully relaxing. Your nervous system stays slightly alert, and erections, especially the natural ones that occur during REM sleep, start to fade away. Experts now recommend no screens for 60 minutes before bed and keeping your bedroom completely dark and quiet. If that feels too difficult, try wearing a soft sleep mask, turning on red tone lights, or using a fan or white noise machine. Your body will notice the difference and your hormones will thank you. This might sound like a small change, but for men over 60, good sleep isn't just about rest. It's about recovery, balance, and keeping the system strong where it matters most. Habit 3. Skipping touch. Even when you're alone, this one might surprise you. Most men think erections are purely physical, about blood flow, nerves, and hormones. But studies now show something deeper. Regular, healthy touch, even when it's just yourself, plays a key role in keeping your system working. And when that touch disappears, the entire system starts to shut down. Here's what medical experts are now discovering. When a man stops experiencing physical touch, especially sexual or self-touch, the brain begins to lower its sensitivity. Over time, dopamine receptors, which control pleasure and desire, begin to fade. Testosterone can drop, and the body becomes less responsive to arousal. In short, use it or lose it is more real than most people want to admit. This doesn't mean you need to force anything. It's not about chasing climax. It's about maintaining a relationship with your own body. A 2022 study from the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that older men who engaged in regular non-goal-focused touch, like slow self-massage or intentional intimate contact, reported higher testosterone levels, better sleep, and stronger sexual response over time. But many men stop touching themselves as they age. Shame, grief, fear, or simply a loss of routine causes them to check out from their bodies. And when that happens, the brain begins to interpret the lack of sensation as disinterest. It pulls resources away from sexual function and invests them elsewhere. One therapist called it nervous system pruning, your body literally forgetting how to respond. One man, in his early 70s, said he hadn't been intimate, not even with himself, in over a year. "I didn't even realize I had given up," he said. After working with a coach, he started a simple nightly ritual of gentle self-touch, without pressure or shame. Within weeks, his body started responding again. Not dramatically, but clearly. So what can you do? Set aside 10 minutes each day. Close the door. Use lotion or oil if you like. And don't try to perform. Just explore. Feel. Remember, you're not broken, you're retraining. And that quiet time can do more for your nervous system than any pill ever will. This isn't about fantasy. It's about connection. The kind that reminds your body it's still wanted, still alive, still home. Habit 4. Eating processed foods every day. You might think a frozen dinner here, a packaged snack there, or a quick drive-through meal isn't a big deal, but if processed foods have become part of your daily routine, they could be doing serious harm, especially to your erections. Medical studies now link highly processed diets to poor circulation, hormonal imbalances, and lower nitric oxide levels, all of which are critical for strong sexual function. Let's break this down. Erections depend on blood flow, and blood flow depends on the health of your blood vessels. When you eat foods high in added sugars, processed oils, and refined carbohydrates, your blood becomes more inflammatory. This means your arteries, swell slightly, stiffen over time, and lose their ability to open quickly. Researchers at the Cleveland Clinic found that men with diets high in ultra-processed foods were twice as likely to develop vascular problems, even if they weren't overweight. That inflammation doesn't just affect your heart. It affects the tiny arteries in your groin and pelvic area, the ones responsible for delivering blood during arousal. These arteries are much smaller than heart vessels, which means erection problems often show up years before signs of heart disease. In fact, doctors often call erectile dysfunction an early warning sign of deeper circulation issues. But there's more. Processed foods also reduce the body's natural production of nitric oxide, the molecule that relaxes blood vessels and allows erections to happen. Without enough of it, the brain may send the right signal, but the body can't follow through. One man in his mid-60s said he relied on frozen meals and fast food after his wife passed away. "I just didn't have the energy to cook," he admitted. "It was easy, but I didn't feel like myself anymore." His doctor helped him switch to simple, whole food meals, grilled chicken, steamed vegetables, fruit, and olive oil. Within a month, his morning erections returned. "It was like my body was waking back up," he said. You don't need to become a health nut, but swapping just one processed meal per day for something fresh can start the healing process. Eggs instead of sugary cereal, fruit and nuts instead of a packaged snack, water instead of soda. These small shifts help lower inflammation, improve blood flow, and support healthy testosterone levels. Food is information. Every bite tells your body what to do, and when you feed it better, your body listens, especially where it matters most. Habit 5. Keeping stress to yourself. You might think it's better to stay quiet, to handle your problems alone, to keep things inside so you don't burden anyone. But here's what medical science now shows. Bottled up stress may be one of the most damaging habits for men's erections, especially after age 60. Let's be clear, some stress is normal. But when stress becomes chronic, and when it's never released or expressed, it builds tension in your muscles, tightens your blood vessels, and increases a hormone called cortisol. And cortisol, when it stays high for too long, starts to work against your testosterone. It lowers desire. It blocks arousal signals. It even reduces your body's ability to feel pleasure. A 2021 study from the American Journal of Men's Health found that older men with higher levels of internalized stress were significantly more likely to report erectile dysfunction, even when their physical health looked normal. In other words, it wasn't their body failing, it was their emotional load quietly piling up. One man in his late 60s said he didn't talk about his stress, even with his partner. "I just didn't want to sound weak," he said. "I thought I could handle it." But over time, he started feeling numb, emotionally and physically, no drive, no excitement, and no connection. After speaking with a counselor for just a few sessions, he noticed something unexpected. His erections started coming back. Why? Because his body was finally letting go of what it had been holding. You don't need to spill your heart to a stranger, but letting stress out of your body is one of the most healing things you can do. That could mean going for a walk, talking to a friend, writing in a journal, or simply breathing deeply for 5 minutes. Even physical movement like light exercise or stretching helps release the tension stored in your nervous system. When stress stays trapped, the body protects itself by shutting things down. That includes pleasure, desire, and arousal. It's not punishment, it's survival. But once you give your body a safe way to release that pressure, things begin to shift. Blood flow improves. Hormones and the system starts to remember what it's made for. Men over 60 are often praised for being strong and silent. But when it comes to sexual health, silence can hurt. Your body needs freedom, not just from illness, but from emotion. And when you create space for both, your erections become less about performance and more about present solution. Rebuilding what's been lost, now that you know what's been quietly working against you. Here's the good news. Your body still remembers how to respond. Even if it's been weeks, months, or longer, the pathways are still there. They're just asleep. And with the right habits, you can start to wake them up. First, go back to the basics. Start moving more. Set a reminder on your phone to get up every hour and stretch or walk. That simple act can improve blood flow faster than you think. Second, protect your sleep. Turn off the TV and put your phone away an hour before bed. Give your brain the deep rest it needs to repair your hormones. Third, feed your system. Swap one processed meal each day with something real. Even a simple hard-boiled egg or a banana is better than a packaged snack. Fourth, get comfortable reconnecting with your own body. You don't need to perform, you just need to practice remembering. Finally, and maybe most importantly, let stress move through you. Talk to someone, walk it out, write it down. Whatever helps you feel a little lighter is helping your body heal. You don't need pills to feel like a man again. You need circulation, rest, touch, and honesty. And every one of those things is still within your reach. Final reflection, you've been told that aging means losing things, your strength, your drive, your connection. But the truth is, aging doesn't mean disappearing. It means evolving. And every time you choose to move, rest, touch, or open up, you're not just surviving, you're returning to yourself. Your body is still listening. Your blood still flows. Your heart still responds. And even if it's been a while, even if things feel distant, that doesn't mean it's over. It means you're being invited to come home, one habit at a time. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to feel wanted. And most of all, you deserve to feel like yourself again.